Indiana Disability History Project, Center on Aging and Community, Indiana Institute on Disability and Community, Indiana University.
It's all right.
This is fine, yeah.
Okay.
This is great.
This interview is by Phil Stafford with Andy Imlay on December 5th, 2016 at the Indiana Governor's Council for People with Disabilities Annual Conference. And is there something in particular you'd like to start with before we get going? Or is something you want to, anything extra special you'd like to talk about?
Well, is this a time to plug anything that I've got going on?
Okay, we'll start there. But first, we'll have you identify yourself. Just say your name and where you live and what you do. And, then I'll ask a little bit about your current career. Okay.
Yeah, my name's Andy Imlay. That's spelled I-M-L-A-Y. Currently residing in Evansville. Have been since 2006. I'm originally from Richland City, Indiana, which is a small town 30 minutes southeast of Evansville. It's only got a population of about 500 people, no stoplights, little post office, little library, that's about it, little bank.
On the river?
No. Really close to a still functioning 5-screen drive-in. It's still...
5-screen?
Yeah, 5-screen drive-in in Rio, Indiana, that is still, and they actually show current, like if there's a movie coming out on Friday, they'll show it, you know. Yeah, you get in for like $9 and you get to see 2 movies, and yeah, it's good stuff. So, yeah, I've been in the IT industry now for over 15 years. Started out working at Holiday World and Splash and Safari in Santa Claus, Indiana. Former president that has now passed, God rest his soul, Will Cook, gave me my first employment opportunity there. And that's, I was probably 18 years old. So started taking tickets at the front gate, sorting tickets, that kind of thing. And then I saw this guy that would come in and out of the admissions area where I worked at, and he would work on the computers. And so I questioned it. I was like, well, what's that guy doing? Oh, well, he does the computers around here. And I said, well, I've always been interested in that. I got a Commodore 64 for Christmas back in 1988. I said, could I intern here to see if that's something I want to do for a living? Yeah, let's give it a shot. So they'd never had that internship before. It's created because I asked about it, and to this day, they still have people that go in and intern in that position to see if it's something they want to do as a long-term career. So currently, since 2004, I'm working at PC Quest and Quest for Electronics in Evansville, Indiana, on Morgan Avenue.
And what specifically do you do?
When I first started working there, I was helping building new systems, and then I progressed in the company to be the senior systems engineer, overseeing all the repairs that happened in-house for the residential side of the company, as well as some commercial accounts that I took care of. Since probably 3-4 years ago, I had to cut back to kind of part-time. I only work like 16 hours a week anymore. Really just front and counter work, sales work. We work really closely with vocational rehab. If there's any clients that have disabilities that need any one-on-one computer training, we'll get the authorization through vocational rehab, and then I'll sit down with them one-on-one and provide some training. Currently, I'm training a hearing impaired lady to run a sign language class, and she's basically trying to promote this on Facebook. So I'm teaching her about marketing skills on Facebook and how to effectively market her business on Facebook, as well as helping her develop a website.
So she's teaching the class?
Yes.
Over Facebook or through?
Well, she's basically going to sit down with people one-on-one at her home and offer this, but she wanted a way to get it out to the community to let them know that she was going to be offering this.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you were born with cerebral palsy?
That's correct. I was diagnosed at 18 months.
You want to put that in his question in your answer on that one, so that they know what you were diagnosed with at 18 months.
I was born with
Yeah. Yeah, I was born with cerebral palsy and diagnosed at 18 months. That was back in 1979. Spent the first 4 months of my life in an incubator at COSAIRS in Louisville. Had a 40% chance of making it, and here I am. So.
Oxygen at birth?
Not really sure. I believe so. They pumped a lot of oxygen in the incubator whenever I was born, so that's why my eyesight's pretty much, I have to have the glasses. Otherwise, if I took the glasses off, I couldn't even read your name tag. So my eyesight's pretty bad, but I'm still able to independently drive on my own. I was able to travel all the way from Indianapolis myself, from Evansville. So.
What have your folks told you about your early development, your early years?
Pretty much that my mom was, if you've ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, my mom was kind of like Forrest's mom. She wanted me to have the same opportunities that everybody else was going to have, and just because I was born a little different didn't mean that I didn't deserve the same opportunities. So similar to the keynote speaker that we just heard about earlier, they would come in literally probably every year and give me that IQ test to see how I was doing. Every year. And I would score the same score every time, like 117, 118, like really high, like off the charts. The guy's like, "Are you sure? We need to do this again. That can't be right," They were trying to segregate me. They really wanted to segregate me.
When you say they?
The school system. I mean, the co-op back then. I mean, this was the 80s. So the co-op would come in and I'm like, "Dave, are we really doing this again?" Because that was the guy's name, bald-headed guy. I said, "Dave, why are we wasting each other's time? This is really, I'm going to score the same again. Why are we doing this?" So I was mainstreamed into school in the first grade, went all the way from the first grade to the 12th grade, no special ed classes. They would pull me out on occasion to do PT and OT therapy, that kind of thing on a weekly basis. Taught me how to, basically, one of the therapists would pull me out and got me hooked on video games because that helped my hand-eye coordination. So, and then the other therapist got me into playing cards because shuffling cards helped with your hand-eye coordination. So video games and gambling, who knew that those two things would really, benefit me. So, yeah, and graduated with a regular diploma, just like everybody else in my class. So, and it was a big to-do. I mean, they had my, they had my, my picture on the county paper, for when I graduated and all that kind of stuff. I won't tell you what year because I don't want to show my age, but
How'd that make you feel at the time?
Well, it's a big accomplishment. It's a big accomplishment anytime anybody graduates from any kind of school, but to have a disability on top of that, I mean, it's just, it's one of those big things, It's like when I first got mainstreamed into school, this was, I mean, in the 80s, you didn't hear this stuff. So it was all in the paper, and in 1988, when all this was kind of, still in the forefront, they were like, well, Easter Seals, which is down in Evansville that provides therapy services, they're like, well, we need to pull this guy because we need him to be our child representative. So I was child rep for them back in 88, got to meet Don Mattingly and got my picture taken with him. And the telethon back then was 37 hours long. I was on TV for a long time, So, and I still get services from them to this day. So, yeah.
And then you went on to college.
Yeah, I went on to Vincennes University. I actually didn't finish college there because, who really knows what they want to do with their life when they're 18 years old? Switched majors, I don't know how many times. Dropped out, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Really discerned about it. Almost went to the priesthood. Thought that was something I wanted to do with my life. I'm Catholic. My grandfather was a Catholic deacon. I thought that was something I wanted to do. So I kind of dabbled in that a little bit, and then decided, that's not the path I wanted to do. So then I took that internship that I talked about earlier with Holiday World. And then vocational rehab came into the picture and paid for me to get all this training. And then 2004, I got the job where I said I work at now.
What's your living situation?
I've been living independently since 2006 in Evansville. I'm currently living with my fiance. We're getting married next year. She's able-bodied, and she's a drug dealer. I'm kidding. She's a pharmacy tech. So I love pulling that joke on people. They're like, what? Like, no. She actually when I first met her, she was a CNA. So that helped out because she kind of already knew the ins and outs of stuff, and we joke around about that a lot. But then she decided, well, that's tough work. If you know what those people do day in and day out, it's tough work. So she's like, I want out of there. So she decided to do the cashier thing at Walmart for a little bit, and then the pharmacy tech job opened up. And she was like, well, I want to know more about the medication that you take and what it does. So the program with Walmart, she can basically do all of her classes online, so it doesn't really, she can do everything right there. So it's really helpful. So yeah, live with her, and I have a dog and a cat that I've been able to keep alive for 6 years. So I think at this point we're about to graduate to a kid because I can keep a dog and a cat alive for 6 years, So yeah, and they're the best of friends, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have a dog named Max and a cat named Gizmo, and the dog is a Pugapoo. It's a cross between a pug and a poodle. It's got the little underbite. It's got the poodle hair. Intelligent. This dog is just so smart. And I have a black cat. So, yeah. So 2 things people don't normally want, I have. So, so yeah, it works out.
So tell me a little bit about your comedy. You're dabbling into comedy.
Yeah, it was funny how it started. I went to a comedy club back in 2005 when they still had the Funny Bone back in Evansville, and was able to see a comedian by the name of Chris Fonseca, if you know who that is. He has cerebral palsy. He's been in the comedy scene for probably 30 years. He's performed on David Letterman, and he's been on some big shows. And so I kind of thought about it and didn't really do anything with it. Then years later, Josh Blue, if you've ever heard of him, he also has cerebral palsy. One Last Comic Standing, I believe, 2005, 2006. Saw him, met with him, got my picture taken. And then my friend's like, hey, I got these free tickets to this comedy club in town. You need to go check it out. So I went and checked it out. And they had an open mic. So I thought, yeah, I'll get up there and I'll do some stuff. And, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. The old adage, if you don't try, you don't know kind of thing. So I got up there and started doing some stuff and noticed that I was pretty quick on my feet, I guess you'd say, mentally. Not physically, of course, but mentally. I was, quick on my feet, and I was kind of good at it. So a friend of mine, actually, he wasn't a friend of mine at the time, but saw me, doing the stuff, and he had a startup comedy business, so he's been booking me on shows and stuff like that. So anytime there's a new venue that we've got that we're really wanting to promote and get, he throws me in there to MC the show to kind of test the waters to see, okay, what kind of crowd do we have here? And we've actually been able to book regular shows at Legends Bar and Grill in French Lick, which is right across the street from the casino. Yeah, it actually popped up in my timeline. We actually did 2 sold-out shows a year ago.
Wow.
So,
That's interesting.
yeah, so I basically perform all around southern Indiana. I've been to Bloomington. I've done some stuff in Fort Wayne for Camp Possibility, which is a camp for high-functioning adults with disabilities. They serve age 18 to 35, 36, somewhere around in there. Brand new camp, only been around for like 2 years. So I've done some stuff for them. The Alley Cat Lounge. I did an open mic Sunday night when I got in town because I found out my friend from Evansville was like, well, they're doing some stuff at the Alley Cat on Sunday. Message this guy, tell him you know me, and I'll vouch for you so you can get on the show. And the guy that runs the show is a writer for the Bob and Tom Show.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Make a
So,
little money doing that too?
yeah, I mean, every once in a while. Yeah, every once in a while, you'll get a paid gig where you can get some money. If anything, right now I've only been doing it, 2.5, 3 years. So more than anything right now, it's just enough to really cover gas money and that kind of thing. But anything's nice,
Yeah.
So.
Sounds
but I enjoy doing it. So, yeah, breaking down the barriers.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's a social message.
Yeah.
That you're passing along to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is what would you say?
Just because I have a disability doesn't mean I can't be funny. You know. And the preconceived notions that people have about disabilities, those are hilarious. They really are. And people need to realize that what they say, no matter how stupid it might be, it's hilarious to me. And if you say it to me, guess what? I might use it on stage, so be careful. You know?
So you make a little fun of yourself, but you're also making fun of some of the stereotypes.
Yeah, like for instance, kid you not, this happened to me at the place I work at. Guy comes in and said, wow, you didn't sound handicapped over the phone.
Yes, right.
I mean, you know, who says that to somebody? So my response was, wow, you didn't sound short either. Are you trying out for the new Hobbit movie, you know? He's like 5 foot tall. And you know what? He thought it was so funny. He's bought thousands of dollars of equipment from us since then. So I've found out the trick to the trade. If you can make them laugh, they're going to open their wallet and they're going to spend money with you. Because, you know, if you can get them to like you, they'll trust you, which means if they trust you, they'll believe in your product and they'll buy from you. So, yeah. So, that's good stuff.
I had another question. I forgot what it was. Something about comedy, but it's just gone.
It happens.
Yeah. So how old are you now?
I just turned 37. Had a birthday last month and just turned 37. So,
Okay.
yeah, actually the cerebral palsy causes me to age in slow motion, so I really don't look as old as I appear to be. Yeah, it's quite nice.
What transitions are ahead of you? Do you plan for something like that, or are you kind of a grasshopper type person?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of take every day as it comes, you know, because you never know, because believe it or not, the weather really triggers a lot of stuff anymore as I age. Like I'm having a lot of trouble with my shoulders now because of not only do I wheel in the chair, but I've got forearm crutches that I use as well.
Oh.
And your body's really not designed to do that, so I'm having some trouble with my shoulders now. I actually got a call from Easter Seals. I got an appointment on Wednesday when I get back in town to have an evaluation done to see what they can do about my shoulder, because I really don't want to have surgery if I don't have to. Cause,
is that from using crutches for a long period of
yeah,
time?
30 years. Yeah.
Is it an arthritic type change, or?
Don't know. The only thing the doctor's done at this point is did an x-ray to find out it wasn't anything bone-wise and suggested some therapy to see if, you know, we can work it out kind of thing. So, and, you know, some pain medication, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Crutches, when you think about it, haven't changed much in 5,000
Well,
years.
the ones that I have that I found out from a company in Utah called InMotion, they've actually got a spring-loaded tip on them, so it kind of tries to take a lot of the stress off your shoulder that way, because it takes a lot of that impact and absorbs it when the spring comes into play. And it has an articulating tip also, so it makes it easy to grip onto uneven ground and that kind of thing. You can find a lot of stuff on the internet if you just look for it. So, yeah, I'm actually demoing a new product on Thursday. This company out of Wisconsin called Row Wheels, and they've actually developed a wheel for the wheelchair where you actually use a rowing motion where you pull back on the wheels to cause it to go forwards, which takes a lot of stress off your shoulders. Causes you to use your lat muscles back here. Yeah, use your muscles back here on the back of your arm and your back and all that kind of stuff. Takes the stress off the shoulders. So I've been trying to meet with this dealer for like the last 2 months. Supposed to meet with them on Thursday to see if this is a product I'm going to be interested in. So.
That is interesting. Kind of like kiddie cars when we had.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they just debuted these on the market in November, October. So yeah, they're out of Wisconsin. So
you try to stay on top of that stuff. It sounds
yeah,
like.
yeah, I try to stay on top of anything new that's coming out, and you know, if I'm able to be the guinea pig to try it out, why not? So.
Well, there's a good reason for having computer skills right there.
Yeah. So
where did the Superman all come from? How long?
Since about 2004, October 25th, 2004 is when Christopher Reeve died. And it came across the news, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost Superman. So at that time I was like, okay, well, what was this guy all about? You know, I didn't really follow it up until then, unfortunately. So I bought both his books, Still Me and Anything is Impossible, or I don't remember the exact verbiage on the second book, but read both those books, decided it was a mantra that I wanted to get behind, found out about Metropolis, Illinois, and their annual Superman celebrations they hold every year, the first full week in June from Thursday until Sunday, where they celebrate anything and everything Superman. They have a 15-foot high Superman statue in the town square, as well as the largest collection of Superman memorabilia on the planet.
Where is this?
Metropolis, Illinois. It's right across the river.
Really is a Metropolis?
Yes. Yes.
I think I've
Yes.
seen, I
Yes.
think I've seen the statue.
Yes. Right across the river from Paducah, Kentucky.
Oh.
So, yeah, they have a casino there. Jim Hambrick runs the Super Museum, and he has the largest collection of Superman memorabilia on the planet. Everything from George Reeves back in the 50s. You probably remember that.
Sure do, yeah.
Yeah, and the whole controversy surrounding his death.
Yeah, which presumably was told, I was told it was suicide bomber.
Yeah, but you know, if you watch the Hollywoodland movie with Ben Affleck, there's a lot of conspiracy there. So,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So there's memorabilia in there from that. There's memorabilia from Kirk Allen even before that, before you know the serial days when the movies would come on and that kind of thing. Kirk Allen played Superman then, and then Christopher Reeve. You know, when he did his thing, he's got some stuff he's actually got the flying Hornets they used in the movies in the museum. You know, Dean Cain in the 90s when he did his stuff. And I actually met Dean Cain a couple years ago.
So you were down for the festival yourself? Does it also attract other people in chairs?
Well, I see a few other people in chairs, but you can't tell now by the long sleeves I'm wearing, but I have about 6 or 7 Superman-related tattoos. So, you know, I've basically been given the nickname Superman by a lot of my colleagues, kids in the neighborhood. You know, I drive a Chrysler 300C with a Hemi in it. It says "faster than a speeding bullet" on the trunk with the Superman symbol on the back windshield. Only gotten pulled over once. So, yeah, I mean, you know, and yeah, I've got an actual quote that I tattooed from Christopher Reeve on my inner forearm that really, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I'll kind of look at this and it really gives me strength. And it says, "A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles." And then it's got his birth year and his death year. So, yeah. Because that is the truth. I mean, he did a lot for spinal cord research and advocacy for people with disabilities, you know, after he had his horseback riding accident. So, and believe it or not, he was actually allergic to horses and was only doing the whole horse thing for a movie role.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah. Yeah. College roommates with Robin Williams at Juilliard. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, this has been great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. And we certainly appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Produced by Center on Aging and Community, Indiana Institute on Disability and Community, Indiana University. Funded in part by a grant from the Indiana Governor's Council for People with Disabilities. Copyright 2017, the Trustees of Indiana University.